brutally beaten by my son's fiance because he posted a set of photos of us having dinner together on Facebook. Unexpectedly, she mistook me his mistress. On the day of the engagement banquet, Sienna, along with a group of her friends, blocked me at a beauty salon. You shameless woman. How dare you seduce Troy? I will make sure you can never seduce a man for the rest of your life. Girls, so we're parked down there up. If anything happens, I'll take the blame. Sienna violently beat me up at the beauty salon before dragging me to the engagement banquet. Today, I will let you see who Troy really likes, Sienna said as she stepped on my face with one foot, humiliating me in front of everyone. The guests around us burst into laughter. Just as Sienna was enjoying her triumph and continuing to beat me up, Troy finally arrived. I watched him with desperation, hoping he would save me. The engagement banquet was supposed to be a joyful event, as Troy was about to get engaged to his girlfriend, whom he had been dating for 2 years. Hearing this, I was overjoyed and thought that the Malone family would soon have a successor. I had cancelled all my work in Orco and bought the earliest flight ticket back to Latin Art. That night, I reunited with Troy at a restaurant, and he posted a photo of our reunion on Facebook with a caption that read, "Thank you, the most important woman in my life." Since Troy's father passed away, all the business had been on my shoulders, and I had no choice but to fly to Orco. It had been many years since I last saw Troy, and upon hearing the news that he was about to get engaged, I prepared myself seriously. I planned to face my in-laws with my most stunning look, so as not to embarrass Troy. However, that night, Troy and Sienna had a big fight. I asked Troy what had happened, especially since tomorrow was their engagement banquet. Troy angrily told me, "Sienna said she wants to beat up my mistress. She is so insensible. How could I, Troy Malone, have a mistress?" I rarely interfered in Troy's matters or his relationships, but I advised him, getting married is a matter between two people. You must be loyal before getting married. If I find out that you dare to bully Sienna in the future, I will teach you a lesson. I don't care if you indeed have another woman in secret. Since you chose Sienna, cut off all ties with other women. Troy was sweating profusely for my scolding. I didn't expect that the night before their engagement banquet, Troy and Sienna would have a big fight because of a mistress I secretly made up in my mind. I decided that I would personally explain the misunderstanding between Troy and Sienna at the engagement banquet tomorrow. I even bought a villa worth $17 million as a meeting gift for Sienna as her mother-in-law. The day before the engagement banquet, I carefully dressed myself and went to a beauty salon to do light makeup, intending to show up with my best look before attending the banquet tonight. Just when everything was ready, and I was about to attend Troy's engagement banquet, I saw Sienna leading a group of girls rushing into the beauty salon. Angrily, I thought to myself, what a small world. Was about to get up and greet Sienna, thinking I could meet her in advance. However, looking at me fiercely, Sienna walked towards me with her girlfriends. Everyone in the salon was surprised and gazed at us. Without warning, Sienna slapped me in the face, ruining my carefully applied makeup. The burning pain on my face made me feel dizzy. The situation was chaotic. Sienna grabbed my hair and cursed at me loudly, "You are such a botch. Do you think I can't find you hiding here without Troy being honest with me?" Her sudden slap and the overwhelming insults made me feel both pain and embarrassment. All the guests in the beauty salon eagerly watched the drama unfold, where a legitimate wife was beating up a supposed mistress. The guests whispered among themselves, "She seems quite well-mannered with her words and actions. Unexpectedly, at this age, she would seduce other men and do such shameless things? Everything can indeed happen in this vast world." Their whispers rang out in my ears as I endured the pain on my face and tried to explain, "Sienna, you misunderstood. I'm Troy's," but Sienna didn't give me a chance to speak. She grabbed my hair and pushed me down to the ground, and several of her friends swarmed up, punching and kicking me. The intense pain almost numbed my whole body. As Sienna continued to beat me, she scolded, "You slut. You seduced my husband and you deny that you're not a mistress? If you're not his mistress, how do you know my name? It is funny. I didn't expect you to hide so well. Let me tell you, a lowly woman like you will never be able to rise high and gain glory. Don't ever think about snatching my husband from me in your whole life. When I marry into a wealthy family, I will sell you to a brothel, let you serve thousands of men, and be taken advantage of by tens of thousands. Now comment update to tag you on part 2. Book, unexpectedly she mistook me his mistress. Part 3. Before leaving, she raised her voice and said to the boss of the beauty salon, "Regarding all the losses caused by us here today, go to the finance department of the Malone Group to be reimbursed for it. Tell them that it is Troy's wife who sent you there." At the words, the boss of the beauty salon's face changed. He quickly showed a pleasing smile and said, "So it's Mrs. Malone. Don't worry, we won't call the police about what happened here today." Sienna was proud and satisfied. I, who had almost lost all my strength, was humiliated, allowing them to drag me out of the beauty salon. Passers-by were pointing at me and whispering. Sienna stood with her hands on her hips and cursed, "I'm teaching the mistress a lesson. It's none of your business." Someone couldn't bear it anymore. A woman stepped forward to persuade, "Miss, even if she indeed is the mistress, you can't beat her up like this. Her face is covered in blood and you tore her dress. Get a piece of clothing to cover her up. Every part of hers has been exposed. We all have our dignity. Moreover, what you are doing is illegal." Sienna wouldn't listen at all. She sneered at the woman who spoke up, saying sarcastically, "Well, you are so eager to come forward to defend this slut. The way I see it, you are just like her. You are a shameless mistress, right? And I am rich. My husband is the chairman of the Malone Group. Even if I kill someone, I can afford the compensation." The woman angrily glanced at Sienna. I didn't expect Sienna, who looked gentle and weak, to speak so viciously. Finally, Sienna and her close friends drove and dragged me to the lobby of the hotel where the engagement banquet was held. Today was the engagement banquet. Both families had invited many guests from each side. There were dozens of them. I was dragged in. The guests on Sienna's side and various relatives all looked at me in unison. "Sienna, is she the mistress you mentioned?" Sienna's parents stood up and looked at me with resentment on their faces. Sienna nodded, saying, "Yes, that's right. She is the woman in the photo my husband posted on his Facebook timeline last night." I couldn't have mistaken her. Hearing Sienna's confirmation, her mother, Elena Newman, ran straight to me and started slapping my scalp furiously. "Bitch! How dare you steal my daughter's man? Today I'll kill you." The continuous blows left me too weak to even speak. I even wondered if they would beat me to death here today. Kill her. Only my daughter can marry into a wealthy family. Elena called her friends over. The people from her side surrounded me again. In the end, Elena said to Sienna, "Sienna, bring a knife over. I want to ruin her face. I'll see how you seduce other men in the future." Sienna handed a knife to Elena. Everyone was looking at me as I endured heart-wrenching pain. Elena fiercely slashed my face with the knife. Ouch! I screamed hoarsely. The overwhelming pain made me wake up from the daze. At this time, Sienna's cell phone rang. She arrogantly turned on the speakerphone, and Troy's voice rang out. "Sienna, has my mom arrived? What happened over your side? Why is it so noisy?" Sienna sneered, saying, "I'm teaching your mistress a lesson." Troy was stunned. "My mistress? What are you talking about?" Sienna, with a knife in her hand, said, "It's your mistress from last night's photo." Troy's face filled with anger when he heard that. "That's my mom. What did you do to my mom?" Now comment update to tag you on part 4. Facebook, unexpectedly she mistook me his mistress. Part 2. Amid such offensive insults, I kept trying to explain, "Sienna, I am not Troy's mistress. If you don't believe me, call Troy and ask him." Before, Troy had shown me photos and videos of him and Sienna together. In the photos, Sienna appeared as a gentle, considerate, and well-educated girl. But now I realized that I was wrong. I didn't expect Sienna to be so sarcastic and mean. She wouldn't give me any chance to explain. She pulled my hair and screamed over and over again. Crazily dragged me around. Suffering from excruciating pain, Sienna sneered, "Well, Troy, you're calling him so intimately. A cheap whore is always a cheap whore. Now you're still verbally stubborn. What a stubborn woman. You sluts who serve as mistresses for others will never admit that you are mistresses even in death. Later, I will take you to the engagement banquet and personally ask Troy whether you or I serve him better. With me around, you will never be able to marry into a wealthy family in your whole life. At best, you are just second-used goods that Troy will kick away after getting tired of you." Sienna's sharp curses kept piercing my nerves. I dared not imagine what would happen if Troy married a woman like Sienna in the future. Before this, I was full of expectations. I even bought a post-marriage villa for them. Let's kill this slut. Take off her clothes today. I want to see if this trash has any shame, one of Sienna's best friends said, her eyes flickering with fierceness. They stared at me intently as 4 or 5 people crazily pulled my hair and beat me on the ground. Sienna, cooperating with another woman, started tearing off the buttons on my long dress. For a moment, I was covered in blood, and my body was exposed. Everyone looked at me gloatingly, as if it no longer mattered to them whether I was a mistress or not. The scene of me being humiliated and beaten became a great show in their eyes. They watched it with excitement. I desperately tried to cover my chest, but there were so many of them that I was simply no match for them. The intense pain almost made me faint. In a daze, I even saw Sienna taking out her cell phone and starting to take pictures of me. "You slut. Your reputation is about to be ruined." Sienna's several close friends were about to tear off my remaining tattered clothes when finally shouted out, "Sienna. I am Troy's mother." Sienna was stunned. I thought she would call Troy and personally verify my identity. Instead, she laughed recklessly, saying, "You vixen. Do you deserve to be Troy's mother and my mother-in-law? You are just a mistress who can only serve others for a lifetime and live in darkness. You are nobody but a good-looking slut. Troy will never like you. If you are Troy's mother, then the whole world would be turned upside down," Sienna sneered, her face showing madness. Taking out her cell phone, she constantly took pictures of me. What made me desperate was that there were many employees and customers in this beauty salon, but no one stopped them. Everyone was holding their cell phones and taking random pictures of me. The guests added fuel to the fire, shouting, "Did you see it? This is the end for someone who becomes a mistress. The legitimate wife caught her in a beauty salon. The mistress deserves to die. Take off all her clothes and let her be disgraced. She can never turn her life around." Everything around me was in chaos. I felt like my face was covered in blood. I was going to be beaten to death by them. In the chaos, I seemed to hear Sienna's best friend, who was uncertain about the situation, quietly asking, "Sienna, should we confirm it? What if she is?" Before she finished speaking, Sienna waved her hand to interrupt her. Looking at me lying in a pool of blood with disheveled hair, she said with a sneer, "My mother-in-law is still in Orco. She will only arrive today." I did tell Troy that I would attend their engagement banquet on that exact day. By the way, I would formally meet Sienna. I was very happy. I would surely attend Troy's wedding regardless of what happened. So I arrived early last night. I had a meal with Troy at a restaurant near the airport. Now, I knew that Sienna was referring to the photo Troy posted on Facebook last night. I was the mistress that Sienna wanted to beat up. Amid the tearing and fighting, Sienna tore my long dress down to my waist. Her friend restrained both my hands. Sienna tore off my remaining underwear. There was a burst of commotion around. "Well, you have the guts to be a mistress, but you don't dare to let others see your private parts. Indeed, you have got something. I didn't expect you to maintain yourself so well." Everyone picked up their cell phones and took pictures of me fervently. I screamed miserably, struggling with all my strength, but her friends firmly pressed me to the ground. "Take your hands away," to reveal her chest. "I want to post the photos online so that netizens across the country can see this slut's body." Sienna almost lost her mind. The sound of her laughter echoed through the beauty salon. I fell into a pool of blood, almost dying. Until now, I finally confirmed that Troy had never shown Sienna my photo. "Sienna, does she seem to be dying? Shall we continue?" Seeing my condition, Sienna's best friends were a little scared. Sienna sneered, saying, "You act so amazingly. When you were being Troy's mistress, did you ever think about your outcome some other day? It's okay as long as marry Troy and marry into a wealthy family. Troy and my mother-in-law will help me handle it no matter what happens." After finishing her words, Sienna waved her hand and said, "Drag her into the car." Then she looked down at her wristwatch, and her face changed. She hurriedly said, "Hurry up, let's go to the engagement banquet venue. My mother-in-law should be there soon. Troy said he wants to formally introduce me to his mother today." After Sienna finished speaking, her group of girlfriends started pulling my hair and walked out of the beauty salon. Now comment update to tag you on part 3. Unexpectedly she mistook me his mistress. Part 4. As Troy's words echoed through the speaker, the entire room fell silent. Sienna's face turned pale, her hand frozen midair, still gripping the knife she had just used to humiliate me. The sneer that had twisted her lips moments before faded into sheer terror as the reality of her actions crashed down on her. "My mom," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper, her gaze now fixed on me, the woman she had relentlessly tormented and humiliated. Elena, her mother, who had been cheering her on, stood in frozen disbelief. "What do you mean?" she muttered. This can't be." But it was. The woman they had beaten, stripped of my dignity and my very clothes, was Troy's mother, not a mistress. The crowd began to murmur in shock and disgust, eyes filled with pity and horror. Troy's voice on the phone grew colder. "Sienna, what did you do? Is my mother hurt? I'm coming now." The line went dead, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. Sienna dropped the knife, her hands shaking uncontrollably. She stumbled back, her face twisted in fear as she realized what she had done. Her perfect life, the engagement, the marriage, all of it was slipping away. She had shattered everything with her blind rage. Elena grabbed Sienna by the arm, trying to shake some sense into her. "Fix this," she hissed. "Do something before it's too late," but it was too late. I could see it in their eyes. There was no going back. They had stripped me of my dignity and nearly my life, all based on a terrible misunderstanding. When Troy burst through the doors of the hotel lobby and saw me lying there, beaten and bloodied, his face twisted with pain. He rushed to my side, his voice shaking. Mom, I'm so sorry," he whispered, tears filling his eyes. "This is my fault. I should have." Despite my pain, I reached out and touched his cheek, trying to comfort him. "No, Troy," I whispered, my voice weak but steady. "This isn't your fault. But she can't be part of our family. Not after this." Troy's face hardened with determination as he stood up. He turned to Sienna, his expression cold and unforgiving. "It's over," he said flatly. "You're not the woman I loved. You're nothing to me now." Sienna fell to her knees, sobbing hysterically. "Troy, please. I thought she was a mistress. I was jealous. I didn't know," she cried, her voice desperate. But Troy's face was set like stone. "You didn't care to know. You let your jealousy ruin everything. Get out of my sight." Elena tried to intervene, but Troy cut her off with a sharp glare. "And you," he spat. "You're just as guilty. I don't want either of you near me or my mother ever again." As Sienna and her mother were dragged out of the hotel, I looked around the room at the guests who had come to celebrate. Now they stood in stunned silence, unsure of what to do or say. Troy knelt beside me again, his tears falling freely. "Now I'm going to take care of you, Mom. I promise." I smiled weakly at him, my heart aching from the pain but also filled with love for the son who stood by me. "That's all I've ever needed, Troy. Just you." And as I lay there in the aftermath of betrayal and humiliation, I knew one thing for certain: nothing could break the bond between me and my son. Not Sienna. Not anyone. Now comment update to tag you on part 5.